Let's go!
Yeah, the last bit of news is the toughest thing to technically talk about because there is so little of it. But that thing with the bling and the ring is about to be a thing again. Rise, Tarnished, and Walk the New Path Together, an upcoming expansion of Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, is currently in development. We're looking forward to the new adventure in the lands between. So wait a minute, correct me if I'm wrong. Looking at my watch here, it's been a full-ass year since this game came out. It's been a full-ass year. So I was not expecting an announcement of development. That's a full-ass year on my watch, bro. I don't know if what's happened. What? Excuse me? Right? Excuse me? This definitely feels like this should be a lot further along, you know, than an announcement of the DLC's existence, right? It's kind of weird. And I feel that they had to announce something because it's going such an awkwardly long amount of time. It is a really long time to essentially get a DLC for a game. And one of the longest periods of time I think there was before was technically Bloodborne. That's because they combined 2 DLCs together. Then even that was like 7 months, something like that. 7, 8 months tops. So here's the thing. We already know this shit is going to be like fucking massive. Obviously map increases. Obviously, like, what is this? Was this Miquella? Like, this could be a ton of different characters, story implications wise, right? I don't even remember because it's been forever. And it definitely isn't like like Bloodborne or like some of the other games, which are just like in the middle of the game where they just take place at a proper moment, right? And then you experience that moment, but then you continue to the end and you finish it. No, this is an end game DLC. Proper endgame DLC. And for anybody that is curious, most FromSoft games in their vanilla form, except Sekiro, I guess, most FromSoft games in their vanilla release form, which Elden Ring still technically is. They got we got like the DLC for the online Coliseum and stuff like that, the PvP DLC, but that really isn't an expanse of the game world, right? Most FromSoft DLC begets the full game. And that's where the game actually resides, which is funny. Dark Souls 1 is the same thing. Dark Souls 1 is such a better game with its DLC. Bloodborne, the exact same shit. Dark Souls 2, especially. And Dark Souls 3, 100%. Like, all of their games, going back to the very first one that got a proper expansion, which was Dark Souls 1, all of these games, these Souls-likes, are so dramatically improved on core mechanics, weapons, world building, storytelling, like everything. The whole game, the game actually begins at the DLC. I have no doubt in my mind that this shit is going to be that. I have no doubt in my mind that we think Elden Ring is good now. It's about to be 10 times better once the DLC happens, just because there is a literal decade history of FromSoft dropping these games, and they don't actually become full games until the DLC. Which is nuts, right? Actually, truly crazy. What do we want to see actually expanded? Obviously, the thing that I enjoy the most about Elden Ring was its world. To me, like, the greatest characters in the game, the true story of the game resided in just exploring the world of Elden Ring. And having whatever crazy random mishaps and freaky things that happen around every corner be the thing that essentially keeps me engaged the whole time. And it's pretty obvious that the world in Elden Ring is like in a C shape. You know, it's like literally a letter C. The bottom, the left, and the top are utilized, but there's this like spot in the middle right, which is just like not really used, you know? There's like a big chunk over there that is really not utilized that definitely feels like, even from this image, that might be that the Erdtree itself is in a post-apocalyptic state, that it's already burned, right? And it still resides. Like, I don't think we're going to be teleported to a new world or some crazy stuff, which a lot of other games do. We did that with like the Painted World in Dark Souls 3 and even Dark Souls 1? I can't remember. You know, obviously Bloodborne taking us to the past type of stuff. Like, a lot of these games, they like take you out of the story to tell more story, right? To pretty much enhance the existing narrative and the existing world. And this is a bit different, right? This is a bit different. This does actively like take place as an endgame DLC, which is fascinating to me. They haven't actually, I don't think they've done that yet. Anyway, I'm excited about it. I'm trying to think of the other things that I really want. I think I would like, obviously, more weapons and weapon styles. I'm really trying to think. Torrent is obviously on here, so it's like we get more, maybe different kinds of traversal or something like that. I don't know. I actually don't entirely know what I am looking forward to, because I enjoyed so much of my first playthrough of Elden Ring. Again, I haven't played through Elden Ring a second time simply because it's a daunting experience, knowing that my first run was like 150 hours or some shit like that. I don't want weapon switching or anything. I don't need that. I don't need weapon switching in Elden Ring. The story to me is sort of inconsequential as well. Like, to me, I was engaged by the story somewhat and the narrative enough as much as any other Souls game, but not like to the point where I was super invested in its crazy subverted storytelling as most Souls games are. The only one that ever did that for me was Bloodborne. But the world is where the character of this game lies. The world and my love of just running through it and just discovering what they have is so beautiful. That shit was amazing. I don't want to do a randomized run. No, I don't, because I barely even know how the core stuff works, right? Even if I was to revisit Elden Ring again, it would practically all be new to me. And I didn't play through it like 3 or 4 times. I didn't. I only played through it once, and I'm happy with that. So I don't need to specifically start to run through like New Game Plus a whole bunch of times, right? I actually don't. I'm only going to randomize games that I know like to a T, that I want to be surprised by the things that are different. And if you randomize something, that won't be interesting to me, because already stuff is fascinating to me because I haven't played it a second time, you know? But I do know that there's been a lot of mods. Like this game was so big that there's an eternal amount of mods that change the balance of the game, change, you know, how enemies act, change the way the systems act, change the way co-op works almost completely. You know, I feel like there's definitely room to expand. On a technical level, there's a lot of room for expanse in Elden Ring, and that's the next thing I wanted to talk about, which is what is already practically confirmed. Lance McDonald, who made the Bloodborne patch, right, and deep dives almost every single Souls games and finds crazy stuff hidden in the files of the games, has practically confirmed for a very long time that the game is getting a graphical overhaul. That between its technical issues, that Elden Ring is getting a huge graphical fidelity update, as he also predicted a huge DLC content that wasn't just the champions, like sort of like the PvP arena expansion, that they're likely going to be getting a huge lighting update in the form of possibly ray tracing. Now, I'm a little iffy on that. Like, ray tracing is a very hit or miss for me, so we'll see if that does happen. But even if that is the case, I'm down, right? I do think there's still some technical stuff that does need to be fixed. A boss rush mode would also be super sick, man. Watching people run a boss rush, because there's so much literal lands between. Getting from one place to the next, you know, people literally spent the first few months exploiting the holy shit out of that, right? Of finding ways to teleport across the whole fucking map. Just give people a friggin' boss rush, right? Just give people the ability to burn through all the bosses if you need to do it. Make the horse fly. Give the horse some wings. So yeah, that once again introduces a whole bunch of technical issues, but you know, that is what it is.